I don't care how much you've done up until this point, how successful you are. Maybe you're running a business or something that you got a whole bunch of employees and you got some money in the bank or whatever. Like you still get to that point where you're looking at your life and you say, I just need a new challenge. I need like something needs to change. We can all just keep buying more stuff, but there's nothing like experiences to enrich your life. Here's a question for you today. What in the world do you do when your success begins to feel boring to you? I know for some people that may seem like a strange question, but for other people, they actually know what I'm getting at. It's not necessarily that you are doing something that's no longer of value, that no longer serves people, that no longer provides any benefit to the world, but it's just that you've been doing it for a while and maybe the challenge is not there anymore. So, what I want to talk to you today about is what you can actually do about that. And the answer, in a lot of ways, is probably simpler than you think. Now, the implementation may not be so simple, but the idea itself is relatively simple. And it's something that's so easy for you to forget about. And I want to remind you of it today. So, stick around. First, let me introduce myself. I am Mark Johnson, the founder of BounceFab, bringing you ideas for a fit and flourishing future. I'm also the youngest son of Bill Johnson. And I want you to leave your comments after you listen to all this because I do love to hear back from you. And let's just get right into this. So, this is not necessarily something that doesn't apply to people who have yet to get some accomplishments under their belt, but I'm really talking to people who have experienced success in their life. They have maybe some wealth. They have some accomplishments. And so I'm talking to you if you're well on your way in life, but you're kind of at that point where you've been doing what you've been doing, but you don't get the same thrill that you used to get, right? Um, Again, a lot of times, because I've gone through this, what it comes down to a lot of times is even though you're still doing something that has value, it is no longer the challenge that it once was. It's almost like it becomes too easy. And so, if you're someone who's growth minded and you're looking to get to your next level, what happens is you can basically feel a bit bored by your own success. So, if you're in that boat, I want to talk to you about something that you may be forgetting and something that can unlock um, your like new opportunities and help you to be able to identify changes or achieve changes in your life, right? And that one thing begins with an E. Okay, an E. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to think about what that is. Go ahead and take a guess. One in 1,000, two in 1,000, three in 1,000. Okay, what is it? It's called your environment. Okay, I want to remind you how important your environment is. A lot of the success that you've had up until this point is because of your environment. You have an environment around you that is contributing to your success up until this point. Okay, but if you're looking to do something different, that same environment is probably one of the things that's also limiting you as well. Now, why is that? Well, think about it. Your environment triggers moods, it triggers thoughts, it triggers inspiration, okay? It triggers actual behavior. And so what happens is you find yourself in the same environment or environments on a regular basis, and you find yourself doing the same things on a regular basis because your environment is not changing. So, if you want to make a change or if you want to identify new opportunities, then it is most important for you to change your environment. There are a couple ways that you can do this. You can either manipulate elements within your current environment, Or you can actually take yourself out of your current environment and put yourself into a new, unfamiliar environment. Now, let's start with the first. Now, just to give a very, very simple example, if you want to change the mood in your home, well, one of the things you could do, you're not going to necessarily tear down your home, right? But one of the things you can do, you can rearrange the furniture, you can paint the walls, you can move things around, you can maybe eliminate something or add something. But there are ways that you can change the energy in your house. It's the same house, but you manipulate elements within the environment to create a different energy, which then creates different moods and different inspiration, right? So this is one approach that you can take. For example, just a simple example. Another thing that you can do, especially if you want to actually identify just brand new opportunities for your life, is take yourself out of your environment and put yourself into a new, unfamiliar environment. Don't forget how powerful this is. Let me take you back, way back to when I was just 14 years old and I was just starting out in high school. And I took a trip. My first trip ever to Japan is when I was 14. And I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, in the United States. And I tell you, when I came to Japan, it was a different universe. And the energy, the atmosphere. I remember at the time the economic vitality was just like on a totally different level. And all of the vibes and everything, it was just totally different from what I was accustomed to. And I was 14 and impressionable. You probably remember when you were like 14, 15, how impressionable you were. And at that age, I just saw like a completely different universe of possibilities for my life. And I remember a lot of the kids that I grew up with back where I'm from in Detroit, they, I mean, they were fine. They were normal kids and everything, but I had a completely different view of like what was possible because I'd been exposed to a totally different environment, something that was completely different than what I had been accustomed to and what my friends had been accustomed to, right? And so at that young age, that really really broadened my horizons. It really um, sharpened my vision. Is not, I want to say it basically it allowed me to see things that I simply would not have been able to see if I had stayed where I was. Okay? And so all these years later, it's not really any different. This is what I'm talking to you about today. Okay. I don't care how much you've done up until this point and how successful you are. Maybe you're running a business or something that you got a whole bunch of employees and you got some money in the bank or whatever. Like you still get to that point where you're looking at your life and you say, I just need a new challenge. I need like something needs to change. I can't just do this forever for like the rest of my life, right? So if you're at that point, don't be afraid, all right, to change your environment, whether it's manipulating the environment that you're currently in, or whether it's picking yourself up and getting out and going to a totally different place, right? And that will allow you to draw new inspiration, see opportunities that you couldn't see before. You just couldn't see it before because the environment that you're in right now, it does actually create certain limitations for you. So you get outside of that, you start to transcend some of those limitations. Okay? And this is just very, very this is so fundamental, but so many people forget about it because it's very easy for us to be successful and actually get a bit comfortable where we are, right? Get a bit comfortable, complacent to a certain extent, and then you start to lose that sense of adventure, that sense of growth that you once had. So if you want to get that back, change your environment. That's one of the reasons why I invite people to Japan to work with me is because I know that if I pull you out of your current environment and then you come here, you no longer feel those limitations, okay? You no longer feel that weight, then you can begin to see like totally new vistas, new horizons, just opportunities that weren't obvious to you before, weren't visible at all, come into view, right? And changes that you wanted to make start to feel possible because you're in a totally different environment. Okay. So the last thing is this: just in general, get out and travel. Okay, get out and travel. I know you got a little bit of money. Invest some of that money in experiences. Okay, not just buying stuff, because you know and I know we can buy stuff forever, and there's always something else to buy, and there's always someone who's richer than we are. There's always somebody who's got more money than you, who's got more money than me. They can buy more stuff. Like, we can all just keep buying more stuff, but like there's nothing like experiences to enrich your life. Okay, and when you get up, pick yourself up, and get into a new environment, and you travel, you go see places that are totally different from where you're from, right? Then you're creating experiences, and you're having new experiences. Okay, and you're opening up your mind, and you're meeting new people. This meeting, this is one of the biggest things. It's not only the sights and the sounds and the tastes, and it's getting up and getting out and putting yourself in contact with different people, different ideas. That's a lot of times where the biggest, best inspirations come from. That's where you'll find your biggest opportunities. Okay. Even if we're just talking about you're in business, sometimes traveling will just, you'll get a totally new business idea simply from traveling, right? Okay. So change your environment, right? Think about it. Just like when you want to get in shape, the first thing that you think is, okay, I'm out of shape. Well, obvious thing, get up and go to the gym, a different environment. When you get into the gym, there are weights everywhere, there are machines everywhere, there are people working out everywhere, and the environment triggers you to behave in a different way. It changes your mood. It changes your inspiration is totally different. You're looking at all these people working out. Half of them don't look all that great, but they're doing it. And you start to say, well, I look better than them. I can do it too, right? So getting out and changing your environment can change your mood and change your inspiration and change your behavior almost instantly. Okay. Don't want you to forget about this. Okay. So that's my message for you today. All right. There's still room for you to grow. You're not finished. All right. So I want you to take this with you. Talk to you next time.